When was the last time you hung out with the boys? Probably years. It's probably been years because most men isolate themselves in their marriage. They think that their wife doesn't want them to have friends or a social life outside of the marriage. So they make their wife their sole source of socialization, their wife and their kids. They go to work, they talk to the people at work, but those guys aren't real friends. Those are coworkers, right? And then they come home and the only people that they have to associate with are their wives and their kids. And that's a massive burden on your wife. She now has to be everything to you. She doesn't want to be everything to you. She wants to be your lover. You know what I mean? She's not your fucking therapist. You can't come and like lay all your baggage and problems on her, right? Your frame is your mental frame. How do you handle your wife's mood swings? How do you handle your wife's shit tests? How do you handle your wife nagging you? How do you handle all that kind of stuff? How do you handle bad situations, emergency situations? Do you freak out? Do you lose your mind and start yelling at things? You start smashing shit around. I saw a video the other day I stitched where a guy, his wife was filming him, and women are happy to film this type of shit nowadays, right? But you lose your temper and you grab a chair and throw it at the fucking fridge, right? Is that how you handle stuff? Because that if you do, you have no frame, right? You have no mental frame. So you got to work on that. Work on having a little bit of emotional control, how to handle adversity, how to handle shit tests from a calm, dominant, masculine presence type mentality, right? You want to work on all that kind of stuff. So yeah, regain your masculine frame. This means being outcome independent, unreactive, and emotionally stable. And that's hard for guys, right? We're supposed to be these logical, rational beings, but we are often reactive to a lot of stuff. You go to try to initiate sex with your wife, she rejects you, you flip out about it, right? You start getting mad and you start being passive aggressive about it, right? All that kind of stuff fully, like, basically reinforces to her that she made the right decision not having sex with you, right? So you got to fix that kind of shit, right? It's unattractive behavior. You have to reestablish yourself as the captain, not her emotional sounding board. Okay. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, that's worded wrong in my notes, Chat GPT. When you do it, when she does have a problem, she needs to come to you, right? She needs to come to you. You have to be an active listener, and you don't want to solve her problems. In that situation, you do want to be her emotional sounding board, right? You want to repeat back to her some of the shit she's saying, right? But in order for that to be effective, you have to establish yourself as the captain. You have to establish yourself as her rock that she can come to, right? And it doesn't work the other way around. You want to avoid seeking reassurance, over communicating, or trying to win her back through niceness, right? And that's what a lot of guys do, right? They go pick up the book, The Love Languages, and they try to figure out what their wife's love languages, or they go into a dead bedroom forum, and that's what people say. Well, have you tried speaking her love language? None of that shit works. In fact, I'm going to write a book on that maybe next year on how the love languages won't fix your fucking marriage, right? How there's been at least 2 studies over the last 30 years that have dismantled the love languages, but yet it's such a popular concept in the relationship advice space that people still fucking cling to it, right? But that's not going to work. Okay. It ends up being one giant covert contract when you're trying to use it to fix your marriage, right? You're trying to do all these nice things, hoping she'll reciprocate. Like, you're giving to get. That's nice guy behavior. Okay. And it ends up lowering your status. She basically starts looking at you like, oh, good, he's a slave. He'll do more fucking chores for me. And I'll just keep dangling this pussy carrot in front of him, and I'll never give it to him, right? Because the more he does this stuff, the more I lose attraction for him, and I don't know why. Right? Because a lot of the times women are just not aware of it. It's their wiring. It's their monkey brain or their lizard brain, right? Their evolved instinct. It's not even a conscious thing. They're just like, I don't know why I'm not attracted to this guy anymore, but I don't want to put out, and all of a sudden I have a headache, right? You want to get back in shape. I mentioned that already, right? But you want to not just get in shape in the gym. You also want to do it mentally, emotionally, right? Strength, both physical and mental, is attractive. That's why frame is so important. That's mental strength, right? You want to reintroduce healthy tension in the relationship, right? I call it heat, healthy emotional anticipation and tension. You want to reintroduce that because that's what got her going in the first place. That's that thrill of the dating experience, right? Not going on a date itself, but just the whole act of coming together, creating that anticipation, something for her to look forward to, that kind of stuff, right? The romantic energy was there. It's not there anymore. You guys are basically fucking living roommates now. You guys got too comfortable in the relationship. Absolutely kills attraction. Okay. So you got to understand that a part of that is creating scarcity and mystery again. And it don't take my word for this. Okay. I learned this from Corey Wayne, but if you Google it, uh, do a Google search for, it's been scientifically proven that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear, right? Google it. There's a fantastic study about how women respond to mystery, right? If they know a guy is like totally into them and fawning all over them, it causes them to lose that attraction to them. But if they're like not sure about you and they're wondering what you're thinking and all that kind of stuff, that gets her thinking about you. That boosts her heat, healthy emotional anticipation and tension. Okay. And that scarcity, that means like you're not so available all the time. That's why you go out and you have you start building a social circle. You start having a life outside your marriage again. Okay. And I'm not talking about going out and cheating, although that's an option. I don't necessarily recommend that. I don't think you need to do that, but go out and just be social again, right? Hang out with the boys, do something for you, because if you're not there all the time, that creates scarcity, and that scarcity creates value. It's supply and demand. Okay. But if you're always there, always willing to do shit for her, always jumping whenever she says jump, right? Or you ask how high, you're a commodity now. And you have no value to her. Okay. She no perceived value that causes her attraction to erode. And you want to make decisions without needing her approval. Okay. You don't need her fucking buy-in. Just make a decision and run with it. That's a part of setting the tone and leading your relationship. Okay. You say, hey, we're doing this. We're doing this. Now, you don't have to be a tyrant, and I love using the dinner analogy, right? But women don't want to make decisions. They just want to show up looking hot. So for the dinner debate, instead of saying, hey, where do you want to eat, honey? And getting into that whole fucking argument, you just say, hey, let's go eat at Chili's tonight. Grab your shoes, right? You're telling her what to do. Now, she might not like that idea. Okay. If she's your executive officer, there's no reason not to take her suggestions under advisement, but you're not going to her for the suggestion. You are saying, this is my plan. And if she doesn't like it, she might say, well, I don't like that place, right? Or I don't want to do that thing, or I don't want to do that project. Okay, well, do you have a better idea? If she does, great. There's no reason, and you like that idea, there's no reason not to go with her idea, right? But if she goes, I don't know, I just don't like that place. Okay, well, we're going to go with my idea, right? You're welcome to come along. You know what I mean? That's where you're making decisions. You're not seeking out her buy-in and approval for it. You're just fucking doing it. And you'll find that 9 times out of 10, she's just appreciative that she doesn't have to make decisions anymore. Women love not having to make decisions, especially if they're boss babes, right? And they go to work all day and they're making 1,000 decisions. The last thing they want to do is have to make a decision about what's for dinner. Women don't even know what they want to fucking wear half the time. You know what I mean? Decision making is your job as the man, and you leave it up to her because you're trying to make her happy all the time, which makes her more unhappy. Do you see how this works? It's very counterintuitive. You want to set firm boundaries when necessary, right? And let her experience the consequences of poor behavior. Okay. And don't try to manage her emotions. One of the biggest ways women manipulate men is knowing that we're trying to make them happy at all costs. Right. And so if you say no to her, if you set a boundary, you say, hey, I'm not going to, doing X, Y, and Z behavior is unacceptable and it needs to stop now. And she starts pouting or crying or whatever. That's how women manipulate men, because they know we've been wired since birth to try to make them happy all the fucking time, right? So as soon as they're unhappy and they show a slightest bit of unhappiness, they typically know that you're going to fucking collapse and go, okay, you know what? I'm sorry. Go ahead and do what you want. I just, whatever. And then she loses more respect for you because you don't fucking stand your ground with shit like that. Right? Let her be upset. Let her cry. It's not your job to make her happier, right? And what you'll find is that she might be upset in the moment when you tell her no or set a boundary or check her fucking shitty behavior. She might be mad in the moment or she might cry in the moment. Let her. It's okay. Don't own it. Because in 30 minutes, in an hour, she's going to respect you more. And she's going to come crawl into your lap, dude. That's how that works.
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.